the Trump administration is being, the IRS is being obliterated by the Trump administration and Doge at this time. And if you're all for it, drop a 47 in the comments and let me know your thoughts, because take a look at the latest headlines coming out in about the past 48 hours. The IRS loses nearly 1 in 3 tax auditors in Doge cuts. Watchdog reports fines, and you can see this coming out May 7, 2025. As of March 2025, the IRS workforce had fallen by more than 11,000 employees, or 11%, according to the Treasury Inspector General for the Tax Administration report. Now, in addition to that, take a look. You can see Doge is now at $165 billion in savings. That's $1,000 per taxpayer that is being saved. Now, we're still waiting to see if there's going to be those Doge dividend refund checks. We will see, but we're hearing that Doge is not done. They are hitting up the IRS right now. And in addition to that, take a look at this. We're also hearing Social Security. Look at this. Social Security admin vows, we are not finished with changes. More changes are coming on the way. This coming out today, May 8th, 2025, that more changes will be coming. And as I mentioned, Doge, we're hearing, is not done. And right now, major cuts are happening with the IRS. And like I said, if you're all for it, drop a 47 in the comments. Hit that like button, subscribe to stay up to date. As more comes out, I'll be sure to keep you up to speed here on the channel so you know exactly what is going on. And like I said, we're still waiting to see the unveiling of that big, beautiful bill that Trump is working on that has all of his tax agenda items, the budget items. They're saying there's going to be no tax for Social Security recipients. About 40% of people that collect Social Security are going to see increased checks as a result of that provision being included. We're going to see when it's released. Also, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. And he said potentially tariffs could affect the economy so much that if you make less than $200,000 a year, you might have no income tax at all. So we're going to see, and like I said as well, those Doge dividend refund checks, taking all the clawbacks from Doge, getting 20% and giving it back to the American people in the form of a Doge dividend refund check. That also, we're hearing, potentially could be a line item. And again, if you like that, drop a 47, hit that like button, subscribe to stay up to date, and I'm going to keep you up to speed on everything. But let's go ahead and take a look at this, as we're hearing that the IRS is getting slashed. 1 in 3 of auditors in the IRS have just, maybe in the past month or so, been relieved of their positions. And like I said, if you're all for it, drop those 47s. But let's take a look at the latest news so that way you can see it for yourself.
A new watchdog report from the Treasury Department reveals the Internal Revenue Service has lost almost a third of its tax auditors. The cuts are a result of the Trump administration's efforts to trim the federal workforce through its Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. According to the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration, 11% of IRS employees have left the agency in the first 3 months of the year. That includes more than 7,000 probationary employees, people who have held the job for less than 2 years. It includes more than 4,000 voluntary resignations under DOGE's deferred resignation program. The largest portion of the cuts were among agents who conduct audits. More than 3,600 employees in that position, or 31% of those workers, have been terminated or resigned. CBS News Money Watch Associate Managing Editor Amy Peakey joins us now. So, Amy, what are the potential impacts of losing that many auditors at once?
Yeah, well, I mean, this was a real push, was to hire more auditors, because the forces of the auditors at the IRS had really fallen over the years, and the chance of actually getting audited had fallen dramatically over the past few decades. And so, what's going to happen is that there are going to be fewer audits because you have fewer auditors, and that means potentially fewer tax scofflaws that are trying to get away with not paying their taxes or not filing their taxes, both from wealthy individuals and corporations, are probably going to, get by, fly under the radar, because there just aren't as many auditors there to manage those caseloads.
So you touched on this, but a Treasury spokesperson blamed the Biden administration for hiring surges. His administration wanted to beef up revenue collection. Was that effective then?
It was. They actually hired a lot of people through the Inflation Reduction Act. The goal of that act, of course, was to lower prices. And part of that idea was, well, if we beef up audits and get more people to pay the taxes that they owe, especially the wealthy and corporations, that we will raise more revenue for the government, and that will help lower costs for everybody. And a Treasury official actually told me this year they had one of the most successful tax collection seasons ever. And I mean, I probably is no coincidence that it comes after hiring a lot of auditors. The IRS workforce went from, I think, about 70,000 workers maybe a year or two ago up to about 100,000. And that's largely due to that funding from the IRA. But now the Trump administration is saying, well, we can really do this more efficiently with fewer people and through programs, technology to do the same thing. But, experts say, these tax audits are extremely complicated. You're dealing with multinational companies, very wealthy individuals. And, sometimes you need a tax professional who really knows what they're doing, an auditor, to go in, also negotiate with people and, work through some of these problems that come up in these very complex cases of tax issues.
So could these cuts potentially reduce federal revenue, having the opposite intended effect of DOJ's goals?
Yeah, well, that's what a lot of watchdogs are saying, that, ironically, they're trying to save money, and it will save money on, not paying the salaries of those workers, the IRS workers, but potentially you're losing a lot of tax revenue. There's actually an estimate from the Yale Budget Lab, which is a nonpartisan lab that looks at policy issues and how they impact federal revenue. And they say that if you cut 40,000 IRS workers, which is what the Trump administration is planning on doing, you'll forego about $323 billion of tax revenue. The savings from that on not paying the salaries for those workers is only about $38 billion. So you're left with a hole of, $200 billion plus that you're not going to be making up. But additionally, on top of that, there's the compliance issue that some people might think, hey, there are a lot fewer auditors out there. I don't really want to pay my taxes. I can get through without paying those taxes. I'm just going to fudge a little bit or not file. And so some experts say that the problem could actually be much bigger than what's projected.
All right, Amy Peakey, thank you.
There you have it, you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. We're hearing that those are taking place right now. Now, like I said, there's also going to be some changes coming to Social Security. We're going to be looking at that here in just a second, as the Social Security Administration has just announced that this is just the beginning for Social Security. But right now, they are focused on, DOJ is focused on the IRS. So let's go ahead and take a look at this article so that way you can see it for yourself. Coming out yesterday, Wednesday, May 7th, 2025, it says, IRS loses nearly 1 in 3 tax auditors in DOJ cuts, Watchdog report finds. As of March of 2025, the IRS workforce had fallen by more than 11,000 employees, or 11%, according to the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration report. The percentage of separated employees was higher for revenue agents who conduct audits. As of March, the agency has lost 3,623 revenue agents, or 31%. However, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent on Tuesday said collections are still a priority for the agency. Now, we had also heard Trump say that you might not need to pay tax if you make less than $200,000 a year, if he has anything to do with it, with tariffs and the IRS. I'll keep you up to date on that. But reading on, it says the IRS has lost nearly 1/3 of tax auditors amid sweeping cuts from Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. And if you like the sound of that, drop a DOGE in the comments, a DOGE, a Watchdog report found. Now, as of March 2025, the agency's workforce had fallen by more than 11,000 employees, or 11%, due to the probationary terminations and the deferred resignation program, according to a May 2nd report from the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration. The percentage of separated employees was significantly higher for certain departments, including so-called revenue agents who conduct audits for the IRS. As of March, the agency lost 3,623 revenue agents, or 31%, according to reports. So DOGE really causing some major cuts to the auditing department for the IRS. Now, the TIGTA report. came the same day as President Donald Trump's fiscal 2026 discretionary budget request, which called for a nearly $2.5 billion IRS budget cut to end the weaponization of the IRS enforcement. And man, let me know your thoughts. Complete massive polar shift from the Biden administration, which was going to bring in tens of thousands of new IRS agents, and the Trump administration coming in and wiping them out. Now, the U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent on Tuesday defended the reduced spending request in a House of Representatives Appropriations Subcommittee hearing. He said the federal government has cut $2 billion from the agency's information technology budget without any operational disruptions. As of April of 2025, the IRS processed more than 140 million tax returns during the 2025 filing season, slightly more than the previous year, according to the agency's data. Now, the Treasury did not respond to CNBC's request for comment about the TIGTA report. Now, the IRS cut could help wealthy tax dodgers. Now, this is the same thing we heard them maybe vocalize in that video footage, that this could potentially be a possibility. In a March letter to former acting IRS Commissioner Melanie Cross, more than 130 House Democrats warned that cutting compliance staff could limit the agency's ability to collect unpaid taxes from wealthy tax dodgers. The lawmakers were responding to IRS staffing reductions that began in late February. Those cuts hurt the agency's ability to improve collections, crack down on complex tax avoidance and evasion by high-income taxpayers and large businesses, the lawmakers wrote. Audits of the top 0.1% of taxpayers returned more than $6 in revenue for every dollar spent in resources, according to a 2023 working paper for researchers at the U.S. Department of the Treasury, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, the Wharton School, and University of Sydney. Now, at the House Appropriations Subcommittee hearing on Tuesday, Bessent said collections were among his IRS priorities, but he expects to meet revenue goals via smart IT and the AI boom rather than via unseasoned collection agents. Now, I would expect that collection would continue to be very robust, he said. So there you have it, you guys. Let me know your thoughts. About a third of all the auditors in the IRS, they are saying, have been cut. And like I said, polar opposite policy stance on this from the previous administration until this one. So, man, if you agree with what Donald Trump is doing here, cutting IRS agents a third, 1 in 3 tax auditors being cut, drop of 47. Like I said, if you liked the previous administration that was actually providing tens of thousands of IRS agents to come in, drop of 46. If I remember correctly, it was something like 80,000 tax auditors or something. I might have that number wrong. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I want to say that the Biden administration was trying to make the IRS way more robust and prepare for massive amounts of audits to get funding in. And like I said, we are keeping an eye on the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE's clawbacks. I'm trying to keep you up to speed on the progress. This is the official site for DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, which has $165 billion in clawbacks as of today. That's over $1,000 in savings per taxpayer. Just to clarify, that's savings. That is not if they were to give out a DOGE dividend refund check. It would be about 20% of that. So I think that would equate to roughly around a $200 check per person. Now, let me know your thoughts. Would you be happy with that? That's where it currently stands. But they're not done. And we're hearing they still got Social Security, which they're saying is a big one. Take a look at this headline with me as well. This coming out today, Social Security Administration vows we are not finished with changes. So this is actually coming out from the Social Security. They are saying they're not done yet. More is underway. Now, just a couple days ago, I let you know about some big changes that were announced. If you missed that video, check it out right after this. But we're hearing more is going to be coming here soon. President Donald Trump's administration is not finished with changes to the Social Security Administration, the former acting commissioner has said. In the spirit of the president's call for results over rhetoric, we have reshaped SSA not to serve a party or a press cycle, but to serve the people, Leland Dudek wrote in an opinion piece for the New York Post. And right now he is the current acting commissioner. Now, we are not finished. But if these first 100 days are any indication, the future of Social Security is not just protected, but it is being renewed. So he's saying there's a renewal of Social Security. An entirely new thing is going to be coming here. So if you're on Social Security, stay tuned to the channel. Subscribe if you haven't done so yet. I'm going to keep you up to speed every step of the way. Dudek was replaced as head of the Social Security Administration by Frank Bisignano this week. So just this week, more changes for Social Security. We have a new commissioner that is in office. Now, why it matters, the SSA pays out benefits to around 70 million Americans every single month. The agency has undergone a number of changes in recent months at the request of Trump's administration and the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. So here's what to know. In his article, Dudek addressed the backlash to job cuts and workforce reorganization that were announced at the SSA earlier this year. We have shifted thousands of employees into direct public service roles and ended outdated telework arrangements that undermine accountability and responsiveness, he wrote, adding that the agency had treated its workers with dignity and respect. He added, "We've given them options to do what works best for them, whether that means volunteering for a public service role or choosing to separate from the agency on generous terms." The SSA confirmed earlier this year that it planned to slash its workforce by 7,000. Dudek announced in April that more than 3,000 staff members had already left the agency, with a further 2,000 being reassigned to offices requiring more staff. Dudek has also highlighted the expedited payment of benefits following the passage of the Social Security Fairness Act, which eliminated two provisions that curtailed benefits for certain public service workers. He said $14.8 billion in retroactive benefits had been paid out to 2.2 million Americans. Previously affected beneficiaries were told that it could take up to a year for the backdate payments and the new benefits to be paid. And as I've kept you up to date here on the channel and let you know, those retroactive back payments have gone out. People receive checks of $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, even in some cases $8,000. So congratulations to those of you that were impacted by the Social Security Fairness Act. You got those retroactive back payment checks, and now those checks that you're getting every month should have been enhanced as well. So this is what good government looks like: focused, humble, and urgent, Dudek wrote. Some complain that we are moving too fast. I say the American people have waited long enough. In the spirit of the president's call for results over rhetoric, we have reshaped the SSA not to serve a party or a press cycle, but to serve the people. Now, there has been some backlash. Martin O'Malley, who served as the Social Security Administration's commissioner under President Joe Biden, has repeatedly warned that staffing reductions could disrupt the payments of benefits. Most recently, he cautioned that personnel reductions could cascade into a collapse of the entire system and an interruption for some time to the benefits. Now, in recent months, there have been reports of SSA website outages, extended delays for phone and in-person services, and instances of beneficiaries being wrongly declared deceased. Democratic lawmakers, including former President Joe Biden, have raised the alarm. In his first major address since leaving office in January, Biden stated last month that the current administration had taken a hatchet to the Social Security Administration. Republicans have also expressed unease. In a letter addressed to Bisignano, a group of GOP representatives said that they were concerned regarding SSA staffing cuts and the ending of office leases. The lawmakers said that while efforts to make our bloated bureaucracy more efficient were welcome, reforms should not disrupt services for those who rely on the payments. The SSA is also facing legal challenges. In April, a federal judge issued a preliminary injunction preventing DOGE from accessing sensitive personal data maintained by the federal agency. The ruling barred DOGE, along with its agents and employees, from accessing systems that store personally identifiable information, including Social Security numbers, medical records, addresses, and bank and tax records as well. That is one of the things we're hearing is hindering DOGE from moving forward with their cuts. Now, what happens next? Bisignano will likely will likely to chart a similar course to his predecessor. In a statement released on Wednesday, Bisignano said that he will protect Social Security. President Trump has been clear about Social Security. He said, "We will make the Social Security Administration a premier organization." So there you have it, you guys. Let me know your thoughts. We're hearing big changes are on the way for Social Security. DOGE is slashing the IRS. They are nowhere near done. There's going to be a lot coming here. And we're hearing that 1 in 3 auditors have been removed from the IRS or have left. So a lot of changes. And like I said, if you're all for it, drop those 47s in the comments. But as more comes out, I'll be sure to keep you up to speed. But there is a lot unfolding here. We're still waiting to see what's going to be happening with that big, beautiful bill Trump said. We're going to see what's included. We're going to see if there's benefits for Social Security, for taxpayers, for those doing overtime, tips. We will see, and I will keep you up to date every step of the way so that way you know exactly what is going on. But that is the latest, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget, if you haven't done so yet, take a second. Hit that like button, helps spread this out further across the YouTube platform. I appreciate it a ton. Also, don't forget to stay up to date. It's totally free. Why not? Hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. And in addition to that, as I mentioned, all the articles that I'm referencing, they are pinned, linked down in the description below. I cite all the sources, put it on the screen, read right from it, so that way you can see it for yourself and know and rest assured that this is the latest. So, that's what's going on, you guys. We'll see where we go from here, and I'll keep you up to date every step of the way. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.